What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the More Than Love podcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got my partner, Jay Bava, with me. What's going on, Jay?
Not much. What's going on? Looking forward to getting into another good show tonight.
Not much, man. I look forward to these shows, talking about some recent topics. Tonight, we're going to be talking about this hot girl summer phenomenon that's been going around social media, where women are, proclaiming that they want to have this promiscuous lifestyle experience over the whole summer. But before we get into the topic of the night, we like to start the podcast off with a segment that we call Terry's Top 3, where we basically highlight three of the most controversial or highlighted posts on my page. Now, this week we had a very hot topic that we're going to be discussing. It was involving actress Lela Rochon and her husband Antoine Fuqua, the Hollywood film director, and him being caught kissing Nicole Murphy by some paparazzi. So this set off a storm because Nicole Murphy said that the story that they tried to use was they were just friendly kissing. You know what I'm saying? Which is obviously a bunch of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like, friends don't lean to the side and kiss each other on the lips like that. That reminds me of like Baby and Wayne kissing. You know what I mean? Like back in the day. But what it turned into was a discussion about weight gain and the idea of a woman falling off or letting herself go. Now, just to be clear, Lela Rochon has lupus and she's had multiple children. She has some complicated pregnancies. So that is likely what contributed to her weight gain. But the question or the topic itself doesn't change. Because even though now the post that we're gonna be discussing is a post that says, does a woman becoming overweight during marriage put her at higher risk of being cheated on by her husband with a more slim woman? Fellas, be brutally honest. Now,
I say, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I say it does. It definitely play a factor. I mean, if you think about it, men are going to get the best looking woman that they can get. That's available to them.
Right, there's a pecking order that kind of sorts itself out naturally. Guys are naturally going to shoot their shot at chicks that are on their level, or if they got the right finances, then it don't really matter. They can holler at whoever they want. But guys figure out what lane they can date in based off the feedback they get from women. But in regards to the question, does it increase the likelihood of it? Yes. It doesn't guarantee that a man will cheat. It doesn't guarantee that he'll cheat with a woman that's slim. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it does increase the likelihood, especially for, men expect women to gain weight with pregnancies and having kids and things of that nature, right? So that's expected to a degree. Men gain weight, our metabolism slow down, etc. But there's a big difference between a person just gaining some weight and aging and somebody completely falling off. And for someone to be on such a high level of physical attractiveness as Lela Rochon, I could easily make the argument she's one of the most attractive black women of the 90s. Easy.
Right. That's what I was going to say. She was definitely sitting one of the top echelons as far as black actors in Hollywood.
Right. And so
and obviously her peak was in the 90s, and who everybody wanted that then.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think the whole pregnancy, her having lupus and having to take the steroid shots, so obviously that played a factor in her gaining weight. So I think you can make a case for either or, that it happened because of her circumstance. Some of it could have been she let herself go.
Yeah. Now I don't really, why it happened is not really that important. Like, under any other, in a circumstance where there is no lupus, where there is no logical or explanation, you know what I'm saying, per se, where it's just laziness, where it's just a lack of change in diet, a lack of effort. That will drastically change a man's desire to be in a relationship with a woman. And it can significantly increase his desire to cheat. Especially if he's in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing if you get fat and your girl, y'all both get fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, or one of those type of situations. But it's a different situation when one person is still relatively attractive, and it doesn't change the fact that having an obese woman impacts him. Like, he can't change what he's attracted to, what he likes. If he was able to pull Lela Rochon in her prime, then he likes bad chicks. You know what I mean? Like, so for her to look the way that she looks now, it's not necessarily right. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, in a perfect world, it wouldn't matter. But in the real world, it does. You know what I mean? Like, so any reason that your partner loses their physical attraction to you, it significantly impacts their, I ain't gonna say everything in the relationship, because you can still be a good parent and do the things that required of a spouse, but man, having a woman that a man enjoys looking at is a very big deal. You know what I mean? Like, especially for a man that's making millions of dollars in Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like, so.
I'll say this. I don't think it's saying that dynamic for a guy that puts on weight or lets himself go, because I think more so man's confidence is also in his money. Antoine Fuqua, he's a multi-millionaire, a renowned director.
Yeah.
So even if he was out of shape, he's still not gonna have no problem attracting women that look like Lela Rochon in the '90s.
Yeah, you're right, especially in 2019. But there's one other aspect of the situation that I wanted to shed some light on. Oftentimes when we talk about cheating, we hear, just leave before cheating, and the real man will leave. Like, we hear all that kind of cliche stuff, right? But think about how that would look if your wife got fat, if a man's wife got fat, and he's like, man, fuck this, I'm gone, right? He just chucked the deuce and he leave. Like, that's way, to me, in my opinion, that would be significantly worse than a man continuing to allow his wife to utilize his resources, benefit off his lifestyle, do everything that he's supposed to do as a husband, even though he cheated or whatever. That, to me, that option is way better than him just leaving her and kicking her to the curb. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of people don't even put any consideration into the fact that he's still making sure, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's still getting to live the lifestyle of being the wife of a Hollywood producer. You know what I'm saying? And all that comes with it. So it's a very delicate situation. Obviously, it's wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want you making any excuses.
Right.
Like, obviously, it's wrong. But if you're choosing between
we're
two bad
definitely not
situations,
advocating cheating here.
yeah, but I mean, what would the conversation be like if he just left his wife to go get with somebody like Nicole Murphy or some super fine chick? Wouldn't he be getting crucified?
Well, then they'll say, "Oh, that was wrong here to do." I think a lot of people say, "Oh, why did
he didn't love her? He didn't care." Exactly, etc.
And so, been married 20 years.
Right, and so that's what I'm saying. Like, so the fact that I talk about how men show their love for a woman, they put up with things from a woman that they wouldn't deal with from somebody they didn't love. I don't think a man would be with a woman that currently looks how she looks now, given other options. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's still utilizing his resources on her, etc. So being faithful ain't one of the things that determines whether somebody loves you or not. A lot of people seem to believe in that, or believe that, if you love somebody, you could never, like, shit, if you were somebody that you're not attracted to for several years, that desire and that ability to fuck somebody else significantly increases. You know what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of people judge these type of scenarios on a utopian world basis, but the reality and the harshness of what people actually experience in the real world is brutal, just like this situation. Let's move on. The next post that I wanted to talk about was a post that it kind of relates to tonight's topic. It was a post that I put up that said there are 3 reasons promiscuous behavior is viewed differently between men and women. And we'll get into that a little bit further tonight when we're talking about the hot girl summer and how the chicks are trying to turn up. But the 3 reasons that I gave: number 1, women have children, and one of the worst positions a woman can be in is to be having sex with several men or multiple men and end up pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Where you have to have multiple men take paternity tests, or you go through your text messages to try to figure out who you're pregnant by. Like, that's a very tough situation for a woman to be in. Secondly, women don't have to pursue men or work to get sex. So their romantic experiences do not equate with what men have to do for sex. Men that get lots of sex usually have to earn it in one way or another. And the men that don't pay for it, and the men that are not getting it because they're famous or rich, those are the men that have to have skill to get women that want to fuck with them. You know what I mean? And so the number 3, a woman having sex with several men implies that her standards for sex are low. Men have no problem whatsoever admitting that they have low sexual standards. Women do. Men fuck groupies, men make songs about fucking their groupies. I don't hear very many songs about women fucking their groupie fans. They talk about liking the fact that men want to fuck them, but it ain't many of them that are really about that life. It's just passing out pussy randomly, like they proclaim that they want to do.
But, I mean, I think as men, we can all say we had a sexual partner. We're not that proud of it, but we don't go say, well, we didn't have sex or deny we had sex. I mean, I think that's kind of silly when you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, guys are a lot more free with sex. We don't have the standards. We're not going on a date talking about how long we're going to make a woman wait for sex. Or how we're going to, we don't view it from the same vantage point that women do. And because of that, it's blatantly clear how men feel about that. And there are reasons why men feel that way. And we talked about this in other discussions, but sex impacts women differently. And that first, like the number 1 on the list, the paternity, not knowing who you're pregnant by. Like, a man can be reckless and get 4 or 5 different chicks pregnant and still not have it be as impactful on him as a woman having 1 child would be. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, it's not really fair, but in the world we live in, a man can die, a man can get ghosts, a man can leave or disappear, and a woman will still be stuck having to raise a child. She'll have more of a connection to the child than most men do. You know what I mean? Like, so those type of things are just reality. A man's desire to be in his child's life and be a good dad and all that, that's internal. A man, you can tell what type of man is gonna be a good dad before he ever gets a chick pregnant. It's in his attitude, it's in his priorities, it's in his value system. Like, you can see all those things before he's a dad or in that predicament. How he handles sex. He's careful, he's calculated. He may take risks, but they're calculated risks. You know what I mean? Like, the way the responsible men operate is very distinguishable if you just pay attention to the right things, if you effectively date. And that's something a lot of people don't seem to do. Now, this whole idea that women claim to want to be promiscuous is really funny to me, because they've always had the ability to do this. And just about everything else they say and do indicates to us that they want to be extremely selective with who they let fuck. They don't want to just be able to have a group of friends all brag about how they hit the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Like, a man will have no problem with a group of female friends bragging about his dick game. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not embarrassed, he's not humiliated, he's not feeling dick shamed or nothing. He's crunk. He's feeling, that's a bonus for a lot of guys. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a societal thing too. Just even think about just growing up, think about when he was in high school. He was out there getting laid, having sex with ladies in high school, he was considered a man. Even college, even college, if you got kids coming through your dorm room, they consider that even in adult life. To say, hey, listen, I got all, I told my friend, hey, I got all these women come through my farm, and hey, I got 2, 3 of them, you need to come through. I'm getting high fives.
Other people notice. You know, it was like that in the Army and the barracks. They notice when
Exactly.
you get a reputation for being seen with attractive women, bringing attractive women to the room, groups of friends coming to y'all room, like those type of reputations really travel among men. You know what I mean? And it goes a long way as far as, like you said, it's a society thing. The pecking order, how other men view you drastically changes. A man that is successful with a lot of women gets adored and idolized by other men because they want to learn how to do it too. Any attractive woman,
like you said, especially if you're bringing, just to say you're bringing attractive women, through your apartment, dorm, bathroom, etc. You know, you're seeing almost as a sex symbol, you know.
yeah, and you know what I'm saying. But like, even with women, they don't have to do anything. Once you turn 14 to 15 and you get some ass, you instantly start get a card to start getting dick. When you choose to start using it is up to you. Your criteria on letting somebody get the sex is up to you, but you have the ability to get it. And shit, man, like I said, I taught middle school, so I know what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, it starts really early where they getting head on a regular basis, they giving head on a regular basis, like, and so being able to brag about being promiscuous, I don't understand how women get tricked into thinking that that's such a great thing. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Right.
The last post that we're going to talk about on this week is a post that I put up that said, ladies, there are no shortcuts to determining if you are compatible with someone long term. You have to invest your time and energy into figuring it out. Without any guarantees, you will get a return on your investment. And I see a lot of women that want to get guarantees or assurances that a dating situation is going to become a committed relationship. And that's such a flawed way to try to approach dating, because none of us can predict the future, right? There are very few things that we know definitively are going to happen. We're going to die, you know what I'm saying? We have to eat food, or we have to get something like, but when it comes to romantic relationships, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the person's going to say or do, and how you're going to respond to it. You know what I mean? Like, there are always unforeseen or unexpected things that happen in a dating situation. And so when women try to find shortcuts, like, all you're doing is eliminating time that you could be actually figuring out whether you're compatible or not. Where you could be identifying red flags to put you in a position to make a better dating decision. You know, and so I just think that's a flawed mentality that I see so many women. Well, it's just really laziness, right? Like, you just want to, first date, you want somebody to tell you that y'all gonna be together. Yeah, you the one. We gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, what does a woman get out of getting that type of information up front, or making the determination that she wants to be committed to a guy that fast? I can't think of nothing positive about it.
How do you tell that just by meeting somebody on, going out on the first date, or whatever the case, or whatever the situation is, you're meeting that person, and you don't know that.
I don't know, man. It doesn't make much sense to me, but I've seen it so many times.
I never really, I've never been, really prepared to love at first sight.
I mean, just I've seen so many women that came to me like that, expecting me to tell them what's going to happen between us on the first date, talking future tense on the first or second date. Like, that type of stuff is so identifiable by men that are successful with women that you drastically decrease your chances of ever getting with that type of man by taking that approach to dating, because they see it so much, they identify it straight out the gate.
But you also, I mean, even, you guys, that kind of question, you guys saw that, just tell you what you want to hear, it's just, because they can't pay for that,
Yeah, man, I really can't explain it, man. It's something that I'm trying to correct. I'm trying to do my part to help them get some better strategies, but this is going to be something that's going to take a lot of time. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the topic of the night. Tonight, we are talking about Hot Girl Summer. and the ladies' desire to be promiscuous all summer long. You're listening to the More Than Love podcast. Thanks for tuning in. What's going on, everybody? It's dating expert Terry Duran, and I'm very pleased to announce that I have created my Patreon page. Patreon is an app that you can download that allows you to subscribe to exclusive content. So I have a variety of things that I'll be doing to help you all reach your relationship goals. I'll be doing a monthly conference line where you can call in and ask me questions directly. And going forward, in order to get a response from me from a DM, you'll have to be one of my patrons. So for those of you that would like my insight and my advice and would like me to help guide you through your relationships or your dating experiences, I would strongly recommend you move over to Patreon, because that's where I'll be giving some of my most important content. All right, everybody, welcome back. You're listening to the More Than Love podcast. Make sure if you want to support the podcast, you can do so by becoming a patron on patreon.com. You can find us at patreon.com/Terry Duran. You can become one of my patrons and you can gain access to some exclusive content. There are different tiers that you can select from, and the higher tier that you select, the more options that you get to be able to get my assistance. They have options where you get monthly one-on-one sessions with me, so go take a look. That's patreon.com/Terry Duran. All right, man, we are talking about Hot Girl Summer. For those of you that don't know, I don't know exactly who's the originator of it, but it's Hot Girl Summer / City Girl Summer. Both of those are kind of terms that are synonymous with kind of meaning the same thing. The female rapper Megan Thee Stallion is kind of the one behind Hot Girl Summer, and City Girls, what's her name? Young Miami is the one behind City Girl Summer and whatnot. And essentially, this appears to be a situation where women are trying to live their best life, turn up to the max, be very promiscuous, do whatever they want, and try, if they can, get over on a man or take some money from a man in the process, right? And so it's very cool, right? It's a college type of mentality. Be free, do your thing, etc. So I'm not hating on that. I was a thought for a long time. I totally get the intrigue on thought lifestyle. The issue though is men are built a lot better for that type of lifestyle. You know, women talk that game. They talk that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna throw that pussy, I'm gonna be on the dick all summer, like sundress season, whoop whoop. Like they talk all that stuff until they get in their feeling. Till the dude that they gave that pussy to, they reverse cowgirl, he don't want to commit. He's still fucking his other girls and his other baby mama and all. Like, that's when it becomes a problem. And so, I'm just trying. I heard a couple of people say things, you know, forward thinking. You know, Hot Girl Summer's gonna be coming to a lonely girl winter and all these type of things. Like, because there are gonna be consequences, right? Like. In today's day and age, with social media and all the access that you have to people's lives, I don't understand what would make women think that I'm just going to post all summer about how much of a hoe I was going to be and how much I was turned up I was doing, and not think that it's going to impact how men view them and perceive them. You know what I mean?
Well, I think some of those stuff women were already doing. I think, you had a couple of songs and now everybody wants to follow this trend of the Hot Girl Summer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, men don't have no problem. Men don't have
Absolutely
any
not.
issue with Hot Girl Summer. We'll get into that. I got a couple of just questions that I want to pose to all the hot girls and all the city girls out there. All right, so my first question, it's a real serious journalism question. Why? Women can get dick anytime they want. And why do they need to campaign for it? Why do y'all need to have a season to go do it? Like, if it's something that you've had since you were a teenager, you've had the ability to get grown men to get in their panties if you want them to. So
Right.
what is the need all of a sudden to be able to prove that you can be a hot girl? Like, that doesn't sound like a winning strategy to me. I can't really think of a good reason to do that. Now, do your thing, show off your summer body, turn up, etc. But if your goal is to be in a committed relationship, you don't want to do things that significantly decrease that from happening, especially from the men that y'all want to be with. You know what I mean? Like, so those type of men they love kicking it with hot girls. They love being on cruises or in DR with hot girls and city girls. That's not usually who they try to wife and make they woman. You know what I mean? Like, so
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, the hot girls so soon, of course, guys going,
yeah, you're gonna be saved in the phone totally different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but I don't think any guys, that's looking to get into a relationship ain't like taking anybody serious that's saying they were on that hot girl summer city girl something. I highly doubt they're taking it seriously.
Right, like, oh, so you've been fucking all summer, now I want to commit to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that it just doesn't make much sense to me. So I have another question. What is the goal? You know, if women prove that they want something, they show us every single day that they don't want just random dick, right? They come up with strategies and ways to try to leverage sex into love, relationships, money, etc. So they show us every single day by the ways that they handle dating and their dating decisions, etc., how they value and treat sex. So what is the goal? What do you get out of going to fuck all summer or be a hot girl all summer? Take shots at the bar and get lit all summer. Like, I don't know. These are questions that I would love for one of these hot girls to be able to answer, but I seriously doubt that we'll get a quality answer for some of these things.
Well, I think it would depend on age, because I would say, okay, if you're, say, ages 19 to, say, 23, I don't really think they're going to be looking for committed relations, and I honestly don't think they should look for a committed relationship until you're still young. But I would say for
a lot of them
25,
by 23,
maybe
I'd say over 50% of women probably have a baby by 23. Like, so yeah, they shouldn't be looking for committed relationships or long-term marriages, but they got long-term situations with their baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? Like, so 19, 20, like, this is, we was the era where teenage parenthood started. So now by the time a chick is 19, 20, she been fucking for years. You know what I'm saying? She might have had an abortion or two. She been fucking for years. So the idea that women just want to go ramp up and turn up for one summer or just because it's a certain time of the year doesn't make much sense. If that's gonna be your mentality, why not do it all year? If you, but exactly. It shows it kind of ties into the mentality or the motive behind it. Like the city girls and all this kind of stripper rap, all they talk about is having good pussy, using a man to either get sex or money. You know what I mean? Like, which I ain't hating on. You know what I'm saying? Like, trap dudes talk about selling bricks and karate class, like the whole, I get it. Yeah, that's what chicks are bragging about. But it's not something that is really brag worthy. Like, I don't think most quality guys look at men that spend thousands and thousands of dollars on strippers as the quality men that most women want to be with. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would love to end up with those kind of guys because they have money to blow. You know what I mean? Like, these strippers don't really care about these men. They don't want to be with these men. They want the lifestyle that these men live. You know, they want to be a part of that. So it's cool. But they're not having sex because they want to give and receive pleasure. And that's primarily the reason men have sex. Man, they was horny. Man, I wanted to eat your pussy to see. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted to please you.
Right.
Like, they're doing it to give and receive pleasure. So when women go and approach sex with an ulterior motive that's usually, they think is usually here. They think men, like, obviously now there are some lames and some suckers that probably don't know they're lame and a sucker. But for the most part, any guy that has any experience with women can tell when a woman's like a gold digger or have this kind of I fuck for cash type of mentality. That's not fooling very many guys. So when you have that type of mentality, it makes it almost impossible for you to ever have a healthy relationship with a guy, because you viewing him as a transaction. You viewing everything from him from a come up type of perspective. How are you supposed to really become vulnerable and open up to somebody? How can you even have somebody's best interest or long-term interest in mind if you trying to get over them? Like, somebody answer that. How can, like, because if a quality man's dating a woman and invest in me, invest your time. So you want somebody to invest in you and make good faith things to show that they care about your long-term well-being and they invest in you or whatnot. How are you investing in them if all you thinking about is what I can get out of him, how to get him out this, give me the pay for this bag? To me, that's a contradiction. Some guys will fall for it. Some guys will still wife that type of chick. That's their business. You know what I mean? Like, I've never said that all men make smart decisions.
I think guys with wife and something like that, it's more so based on two special things. I don't think it's based on because they think she's a good woman or anything like that. I don't think there's any, it's not built on any, those families aren't built on any kind of substance.
Yeah, so the last thing that I wanted to talk about was, how does this hot girl summer mentality actually impact women? How does this play out? How does this fall back on them? And I wrote down 3 things that I see that I think is going to be a direct impact. Number 1, it plays right into the hands of fuckboys and other men that prefer casual sex to relationships. Do you think any man is going to have a problem with participating in hot girl summer? Of course not. You want to ride some dick in the park? You want to go here and do some? They all for it. Men have always shown that they are down for these type of escapades. So this plays right into their hands. Every other time women are trying to strategize on how to get a man to commit, how to get the man that they fucking to fall in love or want to be with them, stop fucking with other women, all these type of things. And then to just totally reverse that, man, men are all for that. So this plays right into the fuck boys that they complain about every day's hand. They offended by Netflix and chill, but now they want to be hot girls. The second thing that it does, it decreases a woman's chances of ending up with a quality man. Now, for some youngsters, like you said, that's in they teens or early 20s, it might not be a big deal. You know what I mean? But the women that are in their 30s that are trying to find a man to put a ring on it and get a family and all that type of stuff, man, your reputation and how you present yourself to the public matters. Whether you think it should or not, whether you think that's fair or not, it don't really matter. The type of men that women want to be with do judge women based off how they present themselves to the public. Employers do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do that. Whether you are, if you're a moralist and you just ignore it because you don't think it's right, that's your problem. You know what I mean? But the reality is, if you present yourself in a certain light to the general public, you are going to significantly decrease the chances of ending up with a quality man. And that seems to contradict most women's relationship goals. And then the third thing that I think is absolutely going to do is increase the possibility that we get a whole bunch of unwanted pregnancies. You're going to have a whole bunch of women that are going to be dealing with all the drama, the turmoil, the financial stress, having a baby by a guy that may or may not be there to help to raise a child with you. So all 3 of those things sound like very bad options for women to just be anxious about volunteering for.
Just like you said earlier, people like that they can end up with a fuck boy, with that kind of mentality.
Right, you know what I mean? Like,
because when you're doing it, obviously you don't know what kind of quality dude he is,
yeah, you just been a hot girl, you smoking blunts, you taking shots, and then you end up getting a train ran on you or something happens that you have to suffer the consequences for. A lot of women prove that they not really built for that. You know what I'm saying? That's why they need therapy. That's why they gotta go talk about it and all that. Like, they live these kind of lifestyles where they are trying to be something they're not.
Right.
And that always comes back to bite you in the ass. So I just want y'all to think about some of these questions that we posed tonight. Why are y'all actually doing this? What is the goal? What do you plan on getting out of being a hot girl all summer? Right? How does hot girl summer impact you? Like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be lit. July, August, you know what I'm saying, etc. But how does it impact you long term? Right? So these are just some things I want to put out there, you know, put in the air, put a birdie in your ear, just some things that y'all should consider, because men are not going to complain about hot girl summer at all. This sounds like something that everybody, you know, reverse psychology to a degree. All right, man, we are up against the clock. I want to get up out of here. I want to remind everybody to support the podcast so that we can hire some help, expand some things. You can become one of our patrons at patreon.com/Terry Duran. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the More Than Love Podcast. That's underscores in between each word. Jay, appreciate you again, man, for linking up to do another podcast with me.
Definitely.
Everybody else, man, I appreciate the love. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be coming up with another episode soon.